Good to have you back here on the John Fredericks Radio Network live in D.C. Martha Boneta has joined us, and she is, as you know, a property rights activist. Martha, I want to get to the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, yes. ACP. I'm very frustrated we can't get this done. We're right at the end. We still got these people that don't want it in Nelson County and Augusta, whatever the deal is here. We got to get this pipeline going. We got these jobs going. We got to get this energy going. It's critical for Central and Southeast Virginia. It's very critical to the whole Dominion corridor. I'm getting a little antsy. How do we get this pipeline done?
Well, first of all, when I think of Dominion and the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, I think of great patriotism. I think of the American dream. And the reason why is because without energy independence, we couldn't be the greatest nation on earth. We couldn't have a national security like we do. Our children couldn't go to school and learn skills and trades so that they can grow up and have their dreams and hopes fulfilled. We need electricity. I mean, every morning when we wake up after saying our prayers, we should be so thankful that we can turn on the lights, that we can have heat to heat our homes, that people that have medical needs that need to be on ventilator systems and undergo blood transfusions and everything else that energy requires, that we're able to do that. And being energy independent, having the infrastructure in place so that our grids don't shut down, so that we aren't at risk. There's many underserved areas that really need this pipeline to go through. And when you look at the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, it has bipartisan support. I mean, our current sitting governor supports the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, and it's so important to our nation. And people sometimes forget what a blessing it is that we can turn on the lights every morning. And at the end of the day, and I'll ask you, would you want to have the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, John, in your backyard?
Yes.
And the reason why you would be because
I can get energy.
Yes.
I can get power.
Yes.
I can get jobs in my area,
Yes.
and they're going to pay me to lease the land. And the only thing I can't do is put a tree on it, right? I can put my dog there, my cat there. I can play catch there.
You can still
it's
grow
under the
crops
ground. I can grow flowers.
Tomatoes,
I can lawn.
vegetables, yeah.
The only thing I can't do is I can put a basketball court over it.
Right, that's right.
The only thing I do is I can't plant a tree.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay me to lease the land. I'd have to be an idiot not to do that.
Right.
An idiot. It would be, I would just want to know, how soon can I get the check?
Right, and there's a couple of other things too. I want.
Plus, I'm helping people.
Right, that's exactly correct. That's exactly right, and you're helping our nation. And one of the things I want to talk about too is the whole issue of property rights, because property rights and freedom are inseparable. It's fundamental to being an American, to living the American dream, is having the ability to own property and to be able to use the property to its fullest extent. It is such a blessing to be able to work hard and to save up your whole life to be able to own your little piece of dirt in America, and how much that means. And so many people are frustrated because they feel as though they feel like their property rights are being taken from them because of the pipeline. And I spent a lot of time thinking about this, a lot of time praying about it, and the pipeline is needed. Nobody's disputing that. In fact, a lot of the people that are frustrated because they don't want the pipeline to go through their property or even near their property, they'll say, Martha, we are all for the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. We're all for energy independence. We know it's so important. We're so grateful to be able to turn on the lights every morning and have the power to heat our homes and cook our food for our families and our children. But we don't want the pipeline going through our property. And I know you've heard this a lot too, John. And they say,
not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard. And my heart bleeds for them, because I hear that pain, and it's very near and dear to my heart. And at the same time, can you imagine if everybody had that position? Where would the pipeline go? It can't go in the air. It can't go anywhere. It has a very specific route. And the route is designed for very specific reasons.
But I don't get these people that don't want it in their backyard or their farms or wherever it is in Augusta County, because we could be standing on one now. Nobody knows they're there. Mm-hmm. This is what I can't understand. It's disruptive to nothing. it's safer than trains or planes or cars or trucks. I don't understand what the problem is. And you get compensated for it.
Right. And you know, I've done a lot of research on this because, you know, when it comes to property rights, I've devoted my life to protecting property rights. It's near and dear to my heart, and my family knows the struggle and the pain, and it's real. And so I've done a lot of research on it. And my understanding is that, for example, you know, some of the pipeline, for example, is going to go through public lands. It's going to go through parks, and it's going to go through some conservation easement land. Even the conservation easement holders, I mean, the property owners that have conservation easements, 8 out of 10 of them have already negotiated and agreed to have the pipeline go through. And this is land that you know, is conservation land. And the reason for that is because the pipeline itself will not affect the conservation values of the properties. It won't affect any of the natural resources or impact the what they call the view shed. You know, in fact, all that sticks up out of the ground is it's like a yellow stick that sticks out of the ground, and that's your only indication that the pipeline is even there. And I've talked to a lot of landowners, many of whom have land that they otherwise were not using, and they weren't able to get any income off of the land, that are pleased with the negotiations. Because right now, you know, eminent domain is not an issue right now. Dominion is going in individually speaking to each and every landowner and negotiating individual agreements with these landowners. And in doing so, I spoke to a farmer yesterday, and he's being compensated for 2 years of the crop loss that he would have. After those 2 years, he's going to be able to plant all of, you know, again, in some cases, Dominion is building bridges to allow the tractors to go over where the pipeline's going to be. And, you know, they're negotiating, you know, individual deals with each landowner. And, you know, a lot of people have expressed frustration about eminent domain, but eminent domain is not being used. And, you know, I think that at the end of the day, it's about, you know, what do we need to do to achieve energy independence for our nation? It's as American as apple pie. It's what makes our nation great. And this is something that I'm going to be speaking to you a lot more about in the coming weeks.
We're out of time. We're going to continue this discussion when I get back. We got to get this pipeline done. I'm going to need everybody's help on it. We need the energy. We need the jobs. We got a few people holding it up. And Dominion has been over the top and being fair with these people.